In 2002, a brilliant new spy thriller appeared in the theaters, based on a 1980 novel by Robert Ludlum. Both the novel and the movie were called The Bourne Identity. It is about a CIA agent who has suffered amnesia and cannot remember exactly who he is. He spends the rest of the story trying to figure out why it is that several terrorist organizations, a professional assassin, and the CIA itself want to see him dead. He simply doesn't remember. At one point, he hitchhikes in Switzerland and is picked up by a woman who drives him to Germany. He tries for a while to conceal his confusion, but then in despair he tells her, "I don't know who I am or where I am going." At a truck stop, he breaks down in desperation and tells her, "I can tell you the license plate numbers of all 6 cars outside. I can tell you that our waitress is left-handed and the guy sitting up at the counter weighs 215 pounds and knows how to handle himself. I know that the best place to look for a gun is the cab of the gray truck outside, and that at this altitude I can run flat out for a half mile before my hands start shaking. Now why would I know that? How can I know that and not know who I am?" Isn't that the same question that plagues all of us through life? Who am I? The story of Jason Bourne is the story of each of us. We don't know where we have come from. We don't know where we are going. We don't know who we are. We have forgotten. Who am I? The most pressing question in life. I am very fond of going to cemeteries, and I love to read the names and the dates on the tombstones. Once in a while you find a sentence or two there. I try to imagine who that person was. But of course, those names and dates can never tell me that. I used to be also a collector of antique photographs, old portraits of people. My favorites were the pictures of the soldiers of World War I, because at that time it was fashionable to take photographic portraits and make them into postcards, which you could then send to your loved ones. I used to love to look into those faces and read the inscriptions on the back of the postcards and try to figure out who that person really was. One of my favorites was the portrait of a handsome young German soldier who had written a postcard to his French girlfriend in French. Now, at that time, France and Germany were enemies. He had fallen in love with the enemy, and that must have made for a fascinating story. I have often wondered who this person was. Did these two young people in love ever see each other again? Or was he perhaps killed in the trenches like so many others? Who am I? I love to read biographies and memoirs, read all about various people and try to figure out who they were. But the words on the page never really give the answer. Every morning I look into the mirror, and like most of us, every day I am more horrified at what I see. But that image in the mirror can never tell me who I am. The question haunts us all through life. Who am I really? I am not a name. I am much more than a name. I am not my profession. What I do does not identify me. Jesus asked the same question of his disciples. Who am I? He receives the usual answers. John the Baptist, Elijah. Names come up, but names do not identify a person. Someone says, "You are a prophet," but a profession does not identify the person. Then Simon Peter, in a moment of inspired insight, says, "You are the Christ, the anointed of God, the chosen of God, the beloved of God." Who am I? I am not dates on a tombstone, or a face on a photograph, or stories written or unwritten in someone's biography of me. These things answer the when, the where, the what, and maybe even the how of me, but they can never answer the who of me. Like the amnesiac in the story, like the amnesiac in all our stories, each of us goes through life crying out in desperation, "Who am I?" And if we have the insight of a Simon Peter, we will lay aside the mirror and realize, with the great Argentinian poet Antonio Porcia, "Cuando busco mi existencia, no la busco en mí." When I look for my existence, I do not look for it in myself. No, it is in looking beyond ourselves. It is in finally seeing our essential connection with the universal, with God. It is in embracing the Christ beside us and inside us that we discover our true self and know instinctively the answer to that haunting question, "Who am I?" In the poignant poetry of Juan Ramón Jiménez, I am not I. I am this one walking beside me whom I do not see, whom at times I manage to visit, and whom at other times I forget, who remains calm and silent while I talk, and forgives gently when I hate, who walks where I am not, who will remain standing when I die. Who am I? I am not I, not merely I. I see myself only in the arms of the other, only in the arms of the divine. And then I know I too am the anointed. I too am the chosen. I too, the beloved of God.